All right, Bears fans, let's dive into the latest from Chicago as we gear up for one of the most intriguing preseason matchups of the year. This Friday night, the Bears head into Arrowhead Stadium to take on the Kansas City Chiefs. And while it is preseason, there is a lot riding on these snaps. Caleb Williams will get the first extended look against starters, which is something Bears fans have been waiting for since his impressive showing against the Bills. Last week, he threw for 107 yards and a touchdown in limited action, mostly against second-string defenders. There were some incompletions, yes, but the overall performance was promising. This Friday, however, the stakes feel a little different. The environment at Arrowhead is famously loud, even when it isn't prime time, and facing a top-tier defense like Kansas City starters is a real test. It's not just about numbers. It's about poise, timing, and decision-making in a hostile setting. For Caleb, for Ben Johnson, and for the entire Bears offensive operation, this is a chance to see how the game plan holds up under real pressure. Last week, the results were clean, but consistency against high-level competition is the real measure. If he can take 2 or 3 drives and sustain scoring drives against the Chiefs' starting defense, that will be a huge confidence boost for everyone in the organization. The question of how long the starters will play is always part of the preseason drama. Last week, the Bears' offensive starters played just 14 snaps, and the defensive starters only saw 3 before the series ended. This week, expectations are higher. Offensive and defensive snaps will likely increase, somewhere in the 15 to 20 snap range for each side. That translates to roughly 2 to 4 drives, depending on how quickly possessions end or how many 3-and-outs occur. Andy Reid, of course, is known to push his starters for multiple drives in preseason games, so this could be a real opportunity for both teams to simulate early season intensity. Fans are naturally curious to see how much work their starters will get, especially as roster bubble players are looking for a lasting impression. These final preseason games often decide who gets to remain on the 53-man roster. Some of the players who see extended reps in this game might only have a few practice opportunities left before final cuts, so every snap counts. This isn't just about seeing big-name quarterbacks in action. It's about the players fighting to make a team, showcasing talent, and earning trust from the coaching staff. On the offensive line, the Bears' left tackle competition has been an ongoing storyline, and Braxton Jones has started to emerge as the likely Week 1 starter. He has consistently taken first-team reps in practice and preseason games, demonstrating solid technique and reliability. Theo Benedict has split time with the ones, and while he shows promise, Jones has been trending in the direction of the starting role. The right tackle situation is less clear, but the general expectation is that AZ Trapillo will fill the position while others like Chronomagi are out of the mix. Watching how the offensive line handles Mahomes and the Chiefs' pass rush will be critical. These games offer a rare chance to see the line in action against one of the league's most formidable defensive fronts, and how well they perform could set the tone for the start of the regular season. Every block, every snap, and every assignment carries weight, especially for those players looking to secure their roster spot. Preseason performances can make or break weeks of preparation and strategy, and this matchup is no different. Wide receivers and tight ends are also under the microscope as the Bears evaluate depth and potential contributors. Roster bubble players like Devin Duvalier, Miles Boyden, Tyler Scott, and Jay Walker are all fighting for their place on the team. Tight end Steven Carlson and Joel Wilson are competing for limited spots, and their performance this Friday could very well determine their fate. These players have been part of a rigorous training camp, and now it all comes down to execution on game day. How they run routes, secure catches, and adjust to in-game pressure will give coaches a clear picture of who can contribute during the season. For wide receivers, it isn't just about raw talent, but also timing with the quarterback, understanding the offensive scheme, and showing resilience against NFL-level defenses. Every route, every contested catch, and every adjustment in real time matters when evaluating these athletes. The defensive side of the ball carries just as much intrigue. Edge rushers like Dominique Robinson, Tin Passino, and Daniel Hardy are battling for meaningful snaps. Defensive tackles Chris Williams, Zach Pickens, and Jonathan Ford are also under evaluation. Cornerbacks Nick Mloud, Trey Flowers, and Z Frazier each have roles to prove, and Friday night may be the final addition for some of them. Performance against Mahomes and the Chiefs starters will be a real benchmark, as they face one of the most potent offenses in football. This isn't a situation where game film alone suffices. Real-time reactions, pursuit angles, and tackling consistency in live-action settings are what separate those who make the roster from those who fall short. Veterans and young players alike must demonstrate that they can handle pressure, adjust to offensive shifts, and remain disciplined across multiple snaps. The complexity of defensive schemes against elite quarterbacks cannot be overstated, and how well the Bears' defensive unit executes will be telling for the season ahead. Special teams are also a storyline to watch. Devin Duvalier could very well secure the primary return duties if he makes the roster, but other players like Luther Burton and Kyle Monangai may also get opportunities to showcase their ability on punts and kickoffs. Tyler Scott and Lamade Zaccheaus have seen action in prior games, but consistency and ball security remain critical. Coaches are looking for a reliable option who can create positive field position and potentially change the momentum of a game. These plays often get overlooked, but in the final evaluation of players, they can be decisive. Who handles returns, who can secure the ball under pressure, and who can gain yardage consistently are all factors that contribute to final roster decisions. Overall, this game is shaping up to be a thrilling opportunity to see how the Bears stack up against a strong Chiefs team and to evaluate both starters and roster bubble players in meaningful action. From Caleb Williams under center to defensive players facing elite talent, to special teams contributors fighting for a spot, this matchup provides insight into both the present and the future of the team. Every snap, every play, and every adjustment on the field adds another piece to the puzzle for coaches and fans alike, and it promises to be a fast-paced, action-packed evening in Arrowhead Stadium. The preparation leading into this game has been intense, and now it is time to translate that work into live action. As fans, the excitement comes not just from seeing the big names play, but from watching future contributors take the field and prove their value in a high-stakes environment. As the Bears step onto the field at Arrowhead, the atmosphere is going to be electric. Even though it is preseason, the stadium carries the weight of history and expectation, and the Chiefs' faithful are famously vocal. This is where players like Caleb Williams are truly tested, not just in terms of skill, but in terms of mental toughness. It is one thing to complete passes against second-string defenders in a quieter stadium, but it is entirely different to read a complex defense while the crowd noise is at full volume. This is where experience, preparation, and composure intersect. Caleb has shown flashes of brilliance already, but Friday night will reveal a deeper layer of his readiness. The timing between him and his receivers will be crucial, and the way the offensive line holds up against Kansas City's pass rush will either provide him the space to execute or force quick decisions under pressure. Ben Johnson, along with the entire offensive staff, will be watching closely to see if the operation can function smoothly in a less controlled environment. Every decision, from audibles to reads at the line of scrimmage, will be scrutinized, and every success will reinforce confidence in the quarterback and the offensive system. The Bears starters on both sides of the ball will likely play a larger share of snaps compared to the last game. Offensive linemen, receivers, and skill players will be given an extended opportunity to showcase their chemistry and consistency. Defensive starters will also get more reps, which is vital to evaluate how they adjust to a high-caliber offense. The last week saw defensive starters only play 3 snaps, leaving many questions unanswered. This game will provide a much clearer picture of how well they can execute under live pressure, make reads, and coordinate as a unit. The coaching staff will be paying attention to communication, gap discipline, and reaction speed, as those elements often define whether a defense can withstand an elite offense when the regular season begins. From linebackers to cornerbacks, the ability to adapt mid-play and react to quarterback tendencies is essential, and this game is the perfect proving ground. Finally, beyond individual matchups, the chemistry of the team as a whole will be on display. How the quarterback communicates with his receivers, how the offensive line coordinates on complex blocking schemes, and how the defense responds to fast-paced, high-pressure scenarios will all be observed carefully. Special teams, offensive backups, and those fighting for a roster spot will all have the opportunity to leave an impression, making the final preseason game a concentrated showcase of talent, preparation, and adaptability. Arrowhead Stadium, with its legendary energy and passionate fans, provides a stage that highlights both the challenges and the excitement of preparing for a full season. Watching Caleb Williams take snaps against starters, seeing how the offensive line holds up, tracking the roster bubble players as they fight for their chance, and monitoring defensive reactions to one of the league's most dynamic offenses promises to deliver an action-packed evening. This is the kind of game where small details matter, and where performance under pressure can define roles for the weeks to come. Every pass, every tackle, and every special teams play contributes to the larger story of the Bears' readiness and potential heading into the regular season, and fans will be glued to every moment of this intense preseason finale. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on our Chicago Bears. And don't be shy. Drop your thoughts on the news in the comments below. Rumors have been swirling across the NFL landscape, and the latest one has hit fans like a thunderclap. Nick Bosa, the defensive cornerstone of the San Francisco 49ers, has allegedly turned his back on the franchise that drafted him and signed a shocking deal with the Chicago Bears. While no official confirmation has come from league offices or team representatives, whispers from locker room insiders suggest that the decision was driven not merely by financial considerations, but also by deep-seated frustrations that have been simmering beneath the surface for years. Bosa, known for his relentless pass rush and ability to completely disrupt offensive schemes, has long been viewed as untouchable in San Francisco. Yet the notion that he might pack up his gear and take his talents to Soldier Field has ignited heated debates across social media platforms, radio talk shows, and barroom conversations. Some claim he had grown weary of the constant spotlight and the suffocating expectations placed upon him in the Bay Area, while others argue that the Bears simply presented him with an irresistible package that combined money, opportunity, and a chance to build something from scratch in a city desperate to reclaim its football pride. The alleged betrayal has cut particularly deep among 49ers supporters, who have embraced Bosa not just as a star player, but as a symbol of resilience and dominance on defense. After all, it was his explosive plays that often turned the tide in crucial moments, anchoring a unit that consistently ranked among the best in the league. Fans painted murals, wore his jersey with pride, and dreamed of him as a lifelong franchise legend, one of those rare defensive icons whose name would echo in history alongside the likes of Ronnie Lott and Patrick Willis. To wake up to whispers that he may have chosen to walk away and don the navy and orange of the Bears feels, to many, like the cruelest possible twist of fate. Analysts have pointed out that such a move would instantly shift the balance of power in the NFC, not only weakening a perennial contender like the 49ers, but also injecting life into a Bears franchise starving for elite talent. In Chicago, where defensive greatness has always been part of the lore dating back to the monsters of the Midway, Bosa would not only be welcomed, but worshipped, potentially transforming a struggling squad into a legitimate threat overnight. Behind the scenes, speculation abounds regarding what really drove this dramatic shift. Some insiders whisper of locker room tensions, suggesting that Bosa had grown increasingly disillusioned with the 49ers front office and their handling of contract negotiations, injuries, and even play-calling philosophies. Others argue that it was more personal, perhaps a desire to step out of the Bay Area spotlight and embrace a new challenge in a city where expectations are massive, but the legacy of defensive dominance offers a unique opportunity. Chicago reportedly offered him not only a blockbuster financial deal, but also promises of building the defense around him, granting him both influence and responsibility at a level he never fully experienced in San Francisco. For a player whose competitive fire burns brighter than most, such guarantees could be too alluring to ignore. Moreover, the Bears' historic emphasis on defense might have appealed to Bosa's sense of tradition and legacy, allowing him to carve his own place in a lineage that includes Dick Butkus, Mike Singletary, and Brian Urlacher, named synonymous with defensive excellence. The NFL community is now abuzz with scenarios, imagining how such a stunning defection might reshape the upcoming season. If Bosa truly has left San Francisco for Chicago, it would not only alter the competitive dynamics of both franchises, but also send shockwaves throughout the league. The 49ers, whose defense has long been their backbone, would face the daunting task of rebuilding their front line without their most feared weapon. Meanwhile, the Bears, long mocked for their offensive struggles and inconsistency, would suddenly find themselves boasting one of the most intimidating defensive presences in the game. Commentators speculate that such a shift could redefine the NFC playoff picture, perhaps even tilt the balance away from traditional powerhouses and open the door for a surprise resurgence in the Windy City. Yet with all the buzz, questions remain unanswered. Was this truly a cold business decision, a matter of money and opportunity, or was it driven by deeper dissatisfaction that fans and analysts have yet to fully understand? As of now, no official statement has been released, leaving the rumor mill to spin unchecked, feeding the frenzy of speculation and disbelief. Fans in San Francisco are demanding answers, while those in Chicago are daring to dream, envisioning Bosa as the centerpiece of a reborn defensive juggernaut. In a league where loyalty is often preached but rarely practiced, this possible betrayal underscores the fragile nature of relationships between superstars and franchises. If the reports prove true, Bosa's departure would serve as a painful reminder that even the most beloved figures can choose to walk away when circumstances no longer align with their ambitions. Until confirmation arrives, the story remains suspended between fact and fiction, but one thing is undeniable. The very possibility of such a seismic move has captivated the NFL world, sparking passionate debates, wild predictions, and a sense that the ground beneath the league's balance of power may be shifting in ways few could have imagined. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Chicago Bears, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.